Have you ever noticed how a simple moment can quietly expose something deeper about the way we live? A sunset unfolds in front of everyone. The sky changes color, slowly, almost perfectly. And almost every hand reaches for a phone. But there's always one person who doesn't. One person who just stands there, watching with their own eyes, not trying to capture it, not trying to prove it happened. And the moment they say, "I'm not on social media," something shifts. People look at them like they've stepped outside the system, like they've chosen something strange. But what if they haven't stepped away from reality? What if they've stepped closer to it? Because that person usually isn't disconnected. They're not antisocial. They're not afraid of technology. In many cases, they're protecting something most people lost without realizing it. If you've never felt the urge to scroll at 2 a.m., never felt the need to document every moment or share your life with strangers, there's a reason for that. Your brain may not be wired into the same loop that keeps billions of people locked into social media every day. And in a world where constant posting feels normal, stepping away starts to look almost radical. And that's the part no one says clearly enough. In 2026, not using social media isn't just a preference. It's a quiet form of resistance. Because social media taps directly into something deeply rooted in human behavior, the need for social validation, the need to be seen, to be acknowledged, to feel like you matter. When you post something and people respond, your brain releases dopamine, the same chemical linked to pleasure, reward, and craving. It feels good. That's why you go back. And it's not accidental. These platforms were designed using psychology to keep your attention locked in, to make you check again, scroll again, look again. It becomes automatic. Not always a choice. Sometimes just a pattern your brain learned too well. But here's where things change. People who don't use social media aren't free from dopamine. They just don't depend on it from other people. Their reward comes from real life, from the experience itself. A moment feels complete because they lived it, not because it was validated. A memory feels meaningful without needing an audience. And once you understand that, everything shifts. And then there's something more subtle, something harder to notice. Social media isn't just about connection. It's about comparison. Every time you scroll, your mind starts measuring your life against someone else's highlights, their best moments against your everyday reality. And no matter how well you're doing, it rarely feels like enough, because you're comparing something real to something curated, and that gap slowly impacts mental health. Not all at once, but in small, repeated moments that add up over time. You don't notice it immediately, but you feel it. That's why even reducing social media use has been shown to lower anxiety and loneliness. But people who step away completely go further. They remove themselves from the comparison entirely. They're not playing a game they were designed to lose. They simply walk away. And that changes everything. Then there's attention. Social media trains your brain to expect constant stimulation, fast changes, endless novelty. Scroll, new content. Scroll, something else. Over time, your focus starts to weaken. It becomes harder to stay with one thought, one idea, one moment. But people who stay off these platforms develop a different kind of attention. They can sit longer with their thoughts. They can read without interruption. They can stay present without needing something new every few seconds. And that changes how they experience life. But let's be honest for a moment. Not everyone avoids social media for the same reason. Some people step away because it truly doesn't serve them. Others step away because they're afraid of being judged, afraid of being seen. That's not the same thing. One comes from SELF awareness. The other comes from fear. So the real question is simple. Are you stepping away because it improves your life, or because it feels safer to stay hidden? Because those are two very different choices. For people who consciously choose it, another realization follows. Social media isn't really social. It's performance. Every post becomes a presentation. Every story shapes how others see you. It's not just connection eats perception. And once you see that clearly, it's hard to ignore. You begin to notice how much of it feels like theater. And real connection doesn't work like that. It happens in real life, in conversations that aren't recorded, in laughter that isn't filtered, in moments too ordinary to post but too meaningful to forget. The best moments in life are often the ones no one else sees. They're the ones you actually live. And that difference shows up in relationships. People who don't use social media don't necessarily have more connections, but they often have deeper ones. Because instead of spreading their energy across hundreds of weak ties, they invest in the people who are actually in their lives. It becomes about depth, not display. Quality, not quantity. There's also time. The average person spends hours every day on social media, and over a year, that becomes weeks. Entire pieces of your life spent watching others instead of building your own. But people who step away get that time back. And what they do with it is simple. They read, they think, they create, they exist without needing to show it. And that simplicity brings a kind of calm most people haven't felt in a long time. Because they're not performing their lives, they're living them. There's also a concept in psychology called continuous partial attention. It's when you're never fully present. One part of you is always waiting for something else, a notification, a message, a new update. You're there, but not completely. People who avoid social media escape that. When they're with you, they're actually with you, fully present. And in today's world, that's rare. Yet society treats it like something strange, like being offline means being disconnected. But the truth is, people connected long before social media existed. You don't need an audience to make your life meaningful. You don't need to share a moment to make it real. And the people who understand that feel it differently. There's also something interesting that happens with creativity. When people step away from social media, their work often improves because they stop creating for approval and start creating for expression. It's no longer about likes or algorithms. It's about something real. And that changes the quality of what they make because it comes from a different place. At the same time, social media has quietly turned many people into personal brands. Even without realizing it, they start curating their lives, shaping how they appear, editing themselves for an audience. But when you step away from that, you leave that pressure behind. You're not managing an image anymore. You're just being a person. And there's a kind of freedom in that most people don't even realize they're missing. Then there's FOMO, the fear of missing out. It's what keeps people checking even when they don't want to. But here's the truth. Most of what you're afraid of missing isn't important. It's noise. The things that actually matter, real moments, real connections, don't depend on whether you're scrolling. They find you anyway. And here's the uncomfortable part, because that feeling keeps you engaged. It keeps you coming back. But when you step away, that pressure fades. And without it, something changes. You stop feeling like you need to prove yourself. You start feeling like you're already enough. When you're constantly thinking about capturing a moment, you don't fully experience it. And that difference matters. But the real question is whether it's serving you. Because the more your attention is controlled, the less control you have over your own life. They're not better than anyone else. They've just made a different choice. And in a world constantly pulling for your attention, that choice matters. You prefer real life. You prefer presence over performance. Or maybe you just say, it's not for me. That's enough, because you're not missing out. And maybe that difference is exactly what most people haven't realized they need yet. Your attention is one of the most valuable things you have. People who step away understand that. They take it back. And if this resonates with you, understand this. You're not strange. You're not disconnected. You're not behind. You're present, and in a world where everyone is performing their existence, that might be the most authentic thing you can do. If this made you think, the next video will show you exactly how social media reshapes your brain and how to take back your focus and mental clarity step by step. If you found value here, like the video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more insights into psychology, human behavior, and living with